Hello, everybody. My name is DeMarcus Mitchell, and I'm here to tell you the difference between a passive and an active speaker. Here, I have two different speakers, not just in looks, but in design quality. This one right here, this big boy right here, is a passive speaker, and this little guy up here is an active speaker. Now, don't let the size, each of their sizes fool you, because there are active speakers that look just like these, and there are passive speakers that look just like these. The difference is in the back. The difference between passive speakers and active speakers is that active speakers, also known as powered speakers, have their own internal power supply slash amplifier built into them already. So with a quick connection, all you would have to do is, and in this case, this one is a battery powered one. You would just turn this one on. It connects.
Power on.
It gives you microphone inputs, quarter-inch inputs, aux inputs. It even has Bluetooth on. Some of them have Bluetooth, some don't. But the main thing of a active speaker is it has its own power supply. So I could take this with a power cable down the road and a microphone. I could attach it and I could use this speaker by itself. Again, this is the back of that speaker. As you can see, it has its own knobs, mixer, controls built into it. Like I said, it's an amplifier plus a mixer already internally built into the speaker. So all you have to do is just attach a microphone, instrument. This specific speaker also has a Bluetooth device, so you can connect your phone straight to it via Bluetooth and control it from there. You have your main volume, you have the volume for the mics, another quarter-inch thing, the power supply. It also has a mix out, so you can take the quarter-inch cable. On some speakers, it may be an XLR. On this one's a quarter-inch. You can take that quarter-inch and attach it to another speaker, and you can chain up as many of these speakers as you want for whatever occasion or atmosphere that you need. This speaker is a passive speaker. Now, I want to show you the difference between the active speaker and the passive. As you can see, this passive speaker doesn't have the knobs, the buttons, or anything like that, the active speaker. It just has this input where you can plug the cable in. That's because this passive speaker is also known as a non-powered speaker, which means it doesn't generate its own power. So you would need a amp, with, in these cases back here, to power this speaker. And what the amps do is, once you run whether your microphone or your instrument through a mixer, the output signal of that mixer goes into the amp. And then the amp not only takes that signal, but it also generates the electricity that's needed to power the speaker and sends it through these cables, which could either be speak-on or a quarter-inch. It sends it through these cables and gives the speaker its power. You also look at some speaker cables, they're kind of thick because their wires are bigger to handle that electric current that's coming through them. That's the difference between an active and a passive speaker. So now you may be asking yourself, which speaker should I get between an active speaker and a passive speaker? And to be honest with you, it all depends on you. For example, here's my opinions about speakers and what I would use them for. My main system, if I'm doing a big arena or outdoor festival or a show that requires me to have a PA system that's just for a big, large space, then I'm going with a passive system because I can control them speakers easily from the amp cases. And depending on how I set them up, I may have to stack them some highs to the places I can't reach them. As though trying to reach some controls on the back would be kind of difficult for me. But if I run a passive speaker, for example, if I have a race system or a big dual system like this, I have a whole bunch of cross and I have each of those speakers connected to the other one and just run it off of one cable going up to the speakers instead of having to run XLR cable up to active speakers for signal and then having to run the extension cable or tie-in powered speaker cable up for power to those speakers. Well, I can just have it all from the rack case. Also, if you use active, I would use them as monitors. They're easier to move around on stage than having to have, passive monitors and having to have the amps to power all those. And when you're doing sound and you're by yourself most of the time, it helps that you have a setup where you can move it by yourself instead of needing to require 2 or 3 or 4 people to help you set it up. Because when you first start off, you probably are going to do it by yourself. And as you grow, you kind of build your team from there. But at certain points of that growth, you can't just jump and hire four people without having the money to pay them. And you got to make sure that you're able to do that job by yourself, because there's some late nights that you ain't gonna be able to have everybody with you. They may have things going on, and so you're going to have to do it some late nights by yourself, early mornings by yourself, load in, load out by yourself, set up, tear down by yourself. So it just helps to have tools of trade that can lessen the weight of things, and it's easier to maneuver around. So I call that a hybrid system. If I was to use passive mains and subs, and then use active speakers for my monitors. But if you was I'll say if you're starting out in sound, like you haven't got any equipment or anything yet, get you a 8 to 16 channel mixer and get 2 active speakers, whether they're 12 or 15. So if you're a DJ, I would say get you 2 active speakers, whether they're 12 or 15s, because you won't have to worry about a rack case. You can use those speakers for anything, and you can kind of get the sense of where you want to go with this, or you want to grow it to something huge like a whole production company, or you just want to be able to DJ or use these speakers for this little engagement. And then from there, if you choose to grow, of course, you're going to get bigger speakers, get active speakers, or go passive, and you just tweak yourself to what you want. That's the wonderful thing about it's however you feel about things, and the clarity about it, and what you want to do with things, and how you want to set it up and hook it up. You have the options and freedom to do so. So it's not just one way to do things. There's plenty of ways. It's just what's going to get the best solution for you and what works for you. That being said, this is the difference between active and passive speakers. They are both very good to the trade. Each of them have their pros and cons, so you will have to weigh them out again for your own judgment, see what works best for you. Now you know what the difference is between active and passive speakers. God bless y'all. Till next time, Toodles.